Milford Lake in Kansas. Pretty much a lake, a bunch of underwater stuff, mainly brush piles. H&H 10-foot Cat 1 jigging rod paired with the 500 series reel. I got braid on here. It's probably, I think it says 35 degrees. We got 15-mile-an-hour winds. So I got the spot lock on here. Here's the old trusty brush pile. Normally fish about 20-22 feet of water, fishing 15 to 17 foot down. Well, right now I'm using a White Chartreuse top secret bait toad tamer, and it is on a muddy water. What is it, 5/16, 3/4 ounce jig head, pink. So I've been out here for about 15 minutes. Had a couple bites. Caught a couple of smaller fish. Not biting really hard. Kind of hard to tell if it's a limb or a fish when I'm jigging it. I've been trying to hold it there, see if I can get them to bite. I've had a couple good hits that I've missed during the last couple minutes. There's one. That freaking thing hammered it. Feels like a bigger one than what I've been catching. It's reeling up slow, just to, yeah, that's a pretty nice one. Reeling up slow since winter time, did a little deep. I don't want to kill them. I'm not keeping any fish today. That's what I like about these H&H rods. This one here, for one, the owners, Eric and Leanne Howard, are just outstanding people. You know, I fished against them the last couple years. You know, he didn't have to venture into this market. You know, got a very successful landscaping business that allows him to go fish tournaments. But he wanted something that he could make sure that is built for the fishermen, by the fishermen. This rod here, I had prototype back in March. Fished with it. You only had one. Used it through the season. Since July, I've placed in the money in, I think, 8 tournaments. Won the Kansas State Championship. Won a tournament on Pomona. Won El Dorado. Fishing with my sister. He got 3rd at the national championship. You know, this rod is so sensitive. I can feel the brush down there. You know, I know when I'm on it, when I'm off it. Sometimes I've set hooks on it just because I thought hitting a limb was a fish. And then it's got the backbone, so you know, if I'm fishing 15 feet down, I don't have to worry about reeling it, or 10 foot down, I don't have to worry about reeling it up. You know, I know that backbone is not going to flex, you know, and double over like some of the rods that I fish with. You know, not saying the bad rods are still good rods, but my preference is I like a sensitive but stiff rod that I don't have to worry about. You know, I can just sling the fish in the boat. And these rods are tough. You know, I've got video of catching carp and other stuff with them. I haven't had one break yet. So, you know, and also he's donating 2% of his funds to military organizations. You know, me being a veteran, I'm getting ready to retire here in January. That's awesome. Giving back. Eric was in the military. He was in the Air Force as a combat controller for a few years before he decided to get out and pursue, ended up being landscaping. They also got Leanne going into the clothing line business with Foxy Fishing Gear. So they're doing a lot. They've been busy this winter there since July, placing in money in 8 tournaments, local and national. Pretty much finishing high when I've been out of the money. Been out of the money a couple times by a little bit, but a lot of luck placing to that. And just me growing with the fishing industry, learning what I need to do, learning from the guys that have been doing this a long time. But you also have other guys that have been placing the money and competing. Just the reels are awesome. 500 series for under $40. You can't get 7 bearings in a reel. Like a lot of the big names, you get 2 to 4 bearings, and they're going to cost you in the $30 range. Smooth drag system. That's why I like it when I'm jigging. If I am just mainly going to fish 10 feet, there's a chance I'm going to change it up. I'll try out a little bit deeper. I ain't got to worry about letting the bill out. I can just sit there and I can set the drag how I want it, and I can pull it out when I need to pull the line out. Back to other people. You got Cagle and McDonald. They won Rookie of the Year for Crappie Masters this year. They got 2nd place in Alabama State Championship, fishing 2 tournaments there. They come up to Truman, spider rigging with 16-foot rods, and they get 2nd place there. Just awesome. You got the Beckmans. They tied with us for the national championship, 3rd place. They're using the reels. Eric and Leanne, their own rod company. They go down Eufaula. Never been on that lake before, and end up winning it, trolling with the rods and reels. So just this year, they officially came out in October. They've had some prototypes in a lot of our ambassador hands. But yeah, me and my original partner Mark McClure, we're looking forward to 2019 Crappie Masters. Hopefully he'll have some issues, family and everything, that we didn't get to finish the year together. We started off pretty good, 5th at Lake Fork for the Ultimate Challenge. We've done pretty good last couple years fishing together. So looking forward. See there, I thought it was a tree. They're just not biting that hard. But looking forward to 2019. FM Outdoors on Facebook. I also got a YouTube channel. It's Air to Mud 7 or Frank Hyshak Fishing. Planning on getting more videos. What I've learned from the pros and my takes on it, my different techniques. You got the power fishermen like Kevin Rogers, very successful doing it. Back about 5 feet. So I can fish more of the brush a little bit better. There you go, one. Big. Probably gonna be the last time for a while. I got some stuff to work on anyways with the boat. I got a 360, it's not working right now, so I might have to send it in. And then of course Christmas, daughter's wrestling. Thinking about going to the St. Johns River Crappie Masters tournament, so I'll be prepping for that. Kind of taking a break, spend time with family before I do all that. I'll also plan on guiding. Right now the name probably going to be cleared hot fishing. Kind of a shout out to my job in my career field in the Air Force. And yeah, kind of slowly get into guiding here around Kansas. Love teaching people how to fish. That's another reason why the videos kind of, you know, I mean, don't know it all, you know. If somebody knows it all, they'd probably win every tournament they fish. So nobody does. Just my way of paying it forward from what the other guys been doing, you know. Wouldn't be here placing in the money and stuff if it wasn't for guys that I've learned from, attending their seminars and listening to what they have to say, and taking some of their techniques of fishing and putting it into practice for me, and adjusting from there. Again, just like to thank all my sponsors. It's been a great year. Like I said, total this year finishing the money in 9 tournaments. I think all those have been top 5s. I've had 2 on the national trail and then 7 on the local trails. I've had some big fishes. We got big fish at the Truman Lake Series. I think it was the only tournament I fished with them, and we finished in the money in 5th. Lake of the Pines, we got big fish. I think we had over 11 pounds, and we finished 8th overall for the tournament. But fishing against some awesome teams. Mike and Suzette Valentine, they got 2nd. Kevin Rogers, they got 1st. Was the Lintons, Jack and Holly got 3rd, and David Cox and Kim got 4th for the money spots. So good old Missouri teams. And then, like I said, the cool thing I liked is I won with a lot of different partners. A lot of the Kansas tournaments, fish with different people. Won Pomona, fished with Kaylin Caden. We got 2nd at Tuttle Creek, fished with Brandon Sieber. Me and Brandon also finished 3rd to money at Melbourne. The Kansas State Championship, I fished with Dalton Thomas and Kaylin. This year you could fish with 3 people. Qualified with a bunch of different guys. Actually, me, Dalton, and Kaylin qualified to fish the fish the Kansas State Championship at the very first tournament of the year on Melbourne. And so I'd actually qualified with 3 different people, and you know, I had this choice if I wanted to fish with just one or something. You know, we tried to get a couple different of us to qualify together, so that way, you know, we could fish 2-man teams. But it didn't work out, and then Brandon had some stuff to do, so it ended up working where we could fish Kaylin and Dalton and myself. That's where luck comes in. You know, I don't think I fished Perry Lake that late in the season, so I assumed the fish were going to be on brush piles. I went out there the week before, caught about 7. I think I had about 7 pounds in the timber. There's really only one creek channel that's good with standing timber. So I was thinking about fishing brush piles for the tournament. Forecast for Saturday is wind. really bad wind. You know, I had 3 people in the boat. Don't know too much brush piles. You know, I know a few, but I know if the fish weren't going to be biting good, we'd have to run and gun. I really didn't want to do that with 3 people. So I made a decision. You know, and then Friday I pre-fished for a little bit. Didn't do that good in the trees. Caught 2 fish. I was like, man, you know, I said, you know what, I went ahead and made the decision that we're going to fish the timber Saturday, and then just from there on day 2. And you know, we kind of got lucky, you know, where I caught those fish that Sunday before. I was like, you know, that's where we're going to start. We're going to start up, you know, midway. That way we can work our way in or work our way back. Now, the only other team that came back there was Hobbs. And, you know, I guess he had caught some big fish out there in the 15-foot range. Well, we started 8 to 10 foot, and it paid off. You know, we went there and then we went shallower. But most of our fish came around 8-10 feet depths, fishing on the bottom. It was still kind of horrible. You know, it's kind of hard with 3 people in the boat fishing. Trying to get all of us on fish. Fishing standing timber, tree lines with a crosswind. It was probably about a 45-degree angle wind. You know, definitely wasn't ideal. But yeah, that day 1 we caught some pretty decent fish. Caught a lot of fish, so it was good. We came in day 1, you know, we had over 8 pounds. I thought, well, you know, that's going to be decent. We should be hopefully in the top 5, close to the leaders. You know, earlier in the year, Brandon Manis caught over 10 pounds. A lot of the teams caught over 9 pounds. So, you know, I mean, times change throughout the season. You're going to catch big fish here. You know, weights are going to fluctuate depending on time of year. So, you know, I felt pretty confident we were going to be in top 5. And they come in, I think we had 880, and second place at 699. And so having that big a lead and having those fish in there, you know, felt pretty good. Figured we'd have a lot of people back in those trees on day 2. There was no secret of where I was fishing. You know, that's what I like to do. If I catch fish on stand timber, that's where I'm gonna be fishing at. I mean, it takes the guesswork out of trying to find the brush piles, and then trying to find out how the fish are set up in them and all that stuff. Day 2, we started in the same spot. Bite was a little bit different. Wind was calmer. Sun was out, which wasn't really the case on the first day. So for us, the bite slowed down. But we ended up on day 2 catching the second biggest bag on day 2, right behind Dustin Hobbs. But luckily we had a big enough lead that you know, we still won the state championship. Pomona, same thing. I went out like Thursday evening before the tournament, fished timber. I only caught two fish that day. I had so many fish I missed. So I kind of second guessed myself. Yeah, we ended up starting in a creek channel I normally don't fish, on some brush piles that were back in there laid down. Didn't do no good. I think we had one 10-inch fish in the live well, and we ended up, you know, I ended up saying, you know, let's forget this. Let's go back over timber and fish what I know. We get over there, and Ken Manis was fishing where I wanted to start, so we fished off the creek channel a little ways, and we caught a couple more fish. I think we had three legal fish, I think we had one that was pretty decent, and two that were just over 10 inches in the live well in the first 2 hours. And noticed Ken wasn't really moving too far, so I said, you know what, let's go over here, middle of the creek channel. You know, well, I think it was like 14, 15 feet, where I'd missed a couple good bites. I was like, let's start here. So we get over there, and you know, 50-foot stretch is, we end up catching all of our fish and end up winning that tournament. Again, you know, luck comes into play. The second place team, they had big fish, and they had another fish just a little bit smaller and they had dye on them. So if that fish wouldn't have died, they would have took first, we'd have been second. So there's where some luck comes in. But you know, that was the first tournament that I won on the year in July, and that's kind of where it started. I kind of realized, you know what, I need to fish my strengths. I need to just slow down, relax, and not stress out so much. And then it just went from there. Like I said, Total Creek, again, luck, figuring out a pattern. Almost was a little too late. We didn't have hardly anything. Was fishing, you know, about 14 feet down, trying to catch these fish. And then Brandon Sieber was like 10 foot down. You know, we were catching a bunch of gar 10 foot down. Well, he happened to catch one crappie. And then I reeled up 10 foot fishing, caught another crappie in between some gar. It's like, you know what, these crappie are mixed in here with these gar. So we ended up fishing that. Still don't really have too much. Went to a point, didn't catch nothing. About the last 30-40 minutes, said, you know what, let's go over this brush pile. Caught some fish on it earlier. Well, I guess finish our day there. We ended up culling 3 more fish in that brush pile in the last probably 30 minutes. That moved us up into second place. What else? No, the El Dorado tournament. That's pretty cool. So I was going to fish it by myself. It was the weekend after the Kansas State Championship. So you know what? Pretty good. Feel pretty good about fishing the timber. You know, El Dorado set up like Truman. So I haven't been out there in a long time, but I'm sure I can find some fish, and just getting out to El Dorado is awesome anyway. So went out there Friday evening, went to our usual spot. It was dead. Couldn't even get a bite back in there. Water had muddied up. Just people later on to learn people were catching fish. There were just small ones back in there. So I'm like, oh, now what I do? I fished out in the deeper water. Wasn't having much luck. I looked at my mapping and I saw a creek bend over in a place I've never fished by. Matter of fact, the mapping didn't even have all the creek bend. You know, I had part of it, and then it showed 6 foot and less, and it was just bare. It's like, well, let me try going over there. So I went over there, fished along the creek channel. I had couple big trees that ended up being, I think 10 foot, and it dropped out in the creek channel and 18 foot. And I caught 2 good fish about 7:30 in the evening off of that. And then I saw this tree line along this road bed, and I was like, well, you know what, let me go over there and just scan it. So I scanned it, worked my way back to the boat dock. It's pretty close. It was getting pretty dark. You know, I pretty much just went nice and slow all the way back to the boat ramp because it was kind of hard to see the trees. Next morning, well, actually before that, you know, like I said, I was going to fish it by myself. Well, I asked Mike Valentine if he was going to be there. He said, yeah. He's like, you want to fish with your sister? And I said, well, if you don't want to fish with her, I will. I was like, I'm planning on fishing myself. he's like, yeah, I'm fishing with Jack Linton. So I was like, sure. You know, she'd end up being, they were catching fish kind of the same area, but when I went over there, they were further down south. So I never saw them over there. And so we get over there. So we're gonna fish this creek channel, these two big trees, and then I see Mike and Jack come in behind me fishing a little secondary channel. So we Suzette actually ended up catching the first 2 or 3 fish, but they just weren't the size. So after about an hour, I said, you know what, Suzette, I was like, let's move up on that creek bed. It looks pretty good. Hopefully in the morning, maybe the fish had moved up a little bit shallower. So we started probably about the 8-foot range, worked our way on top of the road bed, worked our way back out, and then we just happened to hit one spot a little bit off the road bed on the outside tree line, and we just started killing them. It was probably 8:30, 10:30. We had over 10 pounds. And again, El Dorado this year had pulled out some big weights. They had over 13.5 pounds win it earlier in the year. So I thought, well, maybe we're doing pretty good, you know, another top 5. Not too bad. Over 10 pounds. Mike and Jack came by, and I was like, hey, you guys doing? He's like, oh, it sucks. So like, how about you? I said, well, we got around 10 pounds. And they're like, what? So, you know, just hoping and praying that you know, that everybody else was struggling to get 10 pounds. Especially because the bite shut off a little bit after 10:30. I think we upgraded one fish after that, and you know, most of our fish were 1/4 and over, but we had, I think, one was around 1 1/4 and the other one was like 115. We just couldn't get rid of those 2 fish. But we ended up coming away in, and I don't know if I marked the wrong big fish or whatever, but it was like a 1.3. So I was like, oh great, man, maybe my skills jacked up. But we ended up weighing over 10 pounds, and then winning the tournament, I think by almost a pound. Second place had in 9 pound range. So it was cool. It was the first tournament fishing with my sister. I'm getting to hang out with her, which I normally don't do on the Crappie Master Trail, because I'm always trying to find the fish and spending so much time on the water and not relaxing. So that was awesome. You got to have confidence in your bait. You know, a lot of lakes go to, Pomona, stuff like that, everybody's like, oh, red and chartreuse, red and chartreuse. I have a couple red chartreuse baits that I've had for years, because for me, I just don't have confidence in red chartreuse. This year I've only used a couple baits, a couple colors. You know, white chartreuse and June bug have been pretty much the go-to colors all year. Last year there was Cajun cricket with the end tipped in black spike it dipping glue with a pink head. Last year that's what I used in Lake Fork. I had the 6 biggest fish at the big fish tournament. I caught a 2.8. We placed the money at the Crappie Master tournament, and I was just using it, just had confidence in it. This year, you know, June bug's always a good color from Spike It. And then this year, since July, when the sun was out, I'd had white and chartreuse on, and it seemed like when the sun was out, they were wanting white and chartreuse. That's what we did national championship. Last time when it was cloudy, June bug was getting the most hits. I was double pulling, and when that sun came out, it was white and chartreuse. So those were the 2 colors I used most of the year. Still, you know, it's, You know, that's water temperature 60, 80 degrees. It's 40 degrees a day. Even though it's cloudy, you know, white and chartreuse is working today. And then with Top Secret baits, you know, using the bigger profile toe tamers, just seems to be good. And then, like I said, the June bug, I think it's the color, it's the flash in that water. It's, you know, it's a darker bait, you know, meant for muddy water, and it just seems to have been working. Also, like I said, been using white chartreuse pink head, and then using June bug with orange head. So I don't know. You hear a lot of people at Wind, they're using different colors. So again, that's where I think a lot of it has to do with just the confidence that you have in your lures, your equipment, and stuff like that. But also, you know, I mean, having your sponsors, I mean, you know, Spike, it's just been awesome with their different products. I got a color selector where if I'm not catching fish, I can drop it down the depth, and it, you know, it tells you what colors you should be using. You know, I switch, and that's kind of where I've come with the white and chartreuse. You know, you just use it, and then hearing other people, you know, I've heard of other teams that just killed on white and chartreuse, and I'm like, that just doesn't even make sense in muddy water. But you know, I mean, it's more of a minnow type color. You know, it's bright, so if the sun's out, you know, it's I guess the fish can see it. But yeah, the color selector has gotten us at least closer to what we need to use when the bite's gotten tough. They also have the garlic dip and blow. Awesome. It not only adds that garlic smell to it, but it also comes in multiple colors. Like I said, the black for when I want to tip that Cajun cricket, and just provide a little bit separation from the jig head color to the Cajun cricket color. Chartreuse, you know, you can change your colors. You know, if you got a white tail, you can change the chartreuse, you can change it to orange, hot pink, blue, whatever you want. They also come with markers if you just want to, you know, mark some different colors on there. Just all kinds of stuff. They even have UV enhancement dip, you know, provide that UV shine when the lure's in the water. And then they've been good to me and Mark, giving us that opportunity to represent them. And then Top Secret Baits, you know, local guy from Kansas here. Business is really growing. A lot of the guys have been doing really awesome on his baits. He provides, you know, that bigger 3-inch profile bait that Spike It doesn't have at this time. The body's different, you know, it's more ribbed. The tentacles on it, they're all on the outside, provides a little bit more flow, shaking to it, movement in the water even when you're not jigging it. And you know, he's awesome. I can tell him a different color I want, or show him a picture of a color, and he'll make it. He'll add whatever flashes I want to it. And yeah, like I said, I mean, the guys that he sponsors done real good. You know, Ryan German, he got big fish at the Truman Ultimate Challenge with, I think it was over 2.5 pounds on Truman. Awesome fish. You know, Wood and Nugent, they did real good. Last year they won the ultimate fish at Lake Fork, I think with over 14 pounds, and they had a 3.3 hybrid crappie freaking monster fish. So, yeah, like I said, his customer service is awesome. He's starting to branch out into more places, growing his business, you know, from just one store, few guys, you know, local guys, to branching out all over the country. So that's awesome to see. And you know, him supporting me with that quick customer service, you know, and just being able to give back to him by hopefully, you know, promoting him and helping him grow his business even more to where he can make that a full-time job. You know, and then like I said, H&H Rod and Reels, you know, it was awesome being asked for the opportunity to be an ambassador for their company. You know, just fishing against them last couple years, kind of hanging out with them, talking about different types. You know, they're from Florida, so you know they're used to long lining, just trying to learn that stuff. Different types of fish, you know. I mean, they're in Florida, St. John's, you know, you're fishing long line and pulling a mile an hour in 5 feet of water, catching big black crappie, and then coming up here and you know, them learning the jigging aspect of fishing straight down with one pole, and then just learning their backgrounds and their stories. But yeah, getting to represent his company or their company, just seeing the passion that Eric has for helping out guys fishing, different organizations. They just hooked up with rods for warriors to support them, you know, taking out veterans fishing. You know, I mean, that's just awesome seeing that stuff, seeing these different organizations helping out, you know, getting kids out fishing, getting veterans out fishing, anybody out fishing really. But just being a military veteran, definitely the ones that support getting military guys out to fish. You know, I mean, that's kind of how I've dealt with the stress and the problems of military life is just coming out here. You know, it's freaking cold. You know, it's in the low 30s with a nice north breeze coming in here, but it's peaceful at the same time. Even if you're not catching fish, you know, it just takes your mind off of things like, you know, hey, what do I need to do to catch these fish? So you're not worried and stressed about other things in life right now. But yeah, so yeah, Eric and Leanne, you know, Eric's been going around the country getting his rods in different bait shops. Now I just happened to see, or I saw the Let's Go Fishing show in Illinois. It's a big show. I didn't go last year, but I've been the last couple years, listening to the guys doing the free seminars, seeing how big that place is, you know, different booths and stuff. And so I mentioned to Eric and said, hey, you know, if you can get the rods up here and get a booth, he's like, you know, I said, I'll work it. Well, those guys, you know, they're like, you know what, that's awesome, but we're gonna come up too. You know, that looks like an awesome fishing show. So they're gonna be up there at Let's Go Fishing Show with all their H&H rods and reels and Foxy fishing gear. I think it's January 4th through the 6th of next year, so it's coming up. I'll be there, help them out in the booth. So definitely come out there. You guys can actually get these rods in your hands, feel how sensitive they are, yet, you know, the strong backbone that they have. The reels, you can feel them and see them. you know, you can just hit that reel and watch it spin. Just how smooth the system it has in it. Probably bring some here with them lined up so you guys can actually see, mess with the drag, pull the line out, and see how awesome it is to use. The Foxy fishing gear, you know, for the come to a fishing show, you can come home with a present for your female loved one in the household, so you don't get in too much trouble for being gone for 3 days. All different types of apparel that Leanne has. Everything I've heard, they're very comfortable, sporty, just something that anybody can wear, whether they're fishing or going to the gym or whatever. So definitely come out, check us out. As it gets closer, we'll provide the layout of where we'll be. And then you can see the free seminars. So you can see Jeff Falkenberry talking about catfish. Tommy Scarless will be there talking about walleye. Matthew Rogers, who won the national championship crappie masters, will be there. He'll be talking about some stuff. You got, I think Todd Huckabee's going to be speaking again. Who is it? I think Matt Menendez, bass guy, if you guys are bass fishermen too. I think that's who's going to be there for the bass side. And then, you know, a few other, the Jackie and Holly Linton's going to be there. I got to beg Eric into letting me take a break from the booth to watch their seminar on the 360. So I bought the Humminbird 360 Monday before the national championship, got it installed that Wednesday, and it played a huge factor in us finding a lot of the structure we wouldn't have seen with the side scan that we ended up pulling some of our weigh fish off of, that helped us to the tie with third place. So definitely learn a lot just in that 3 days of the Let's Go Fishing show. So you definitely don't want to miss that. And then there's going to be a bunch of other people in the booths. You have people, you know, the boat dealers. You got, I think they've had a fishing pool so your kids can catch some actually real live fish. A lot of different crappie people. Another one of our sponsors, Crappaholic. Another one of Mark and I sponsors, Crappaholic. He's going to be there. Jerry McCready. A bunch of other crappie companies, jigs and rods that I don't personally use, but are, you know, good people. They're going to be there. Grizzly Jig usually has their own separate room, so if a company that you like or you support that isn't there at the show that Grizzly Jig has at their store, they'll have a lot of that stuff up there, and then usually they have discounts and stuff too. So yeah, like I said, the couple times I've been there, it's been an awesome experience getting to meet and interact with a lot of those guys and gals. Winter months can be awesome for catching a lot of fish in a short amount of time. Yeah, I'm seeing posts on Facebook. Clinton Lake seems to be, crappiers seem to be grouping up now. Guy Brian that I went out with for some white bass and wiper action, he posted this morning they caught some limits of crappie and 2 brush piles today out there on Clinton Lake. So that's pretty cool to see. Yeah, that's where a lot of tournaments are, around Topeka, Lawrence area. You know, that's still like an hour and a half from my house, so I'm mostly fishing those and don't get that much time to fish out here on my home lakes. You know, it's got Milford here. Like I said, this boat ramp's 20 minutes from the house. I got Tuttle Creek on the other side of my house. That's 10 minutes to the boat ramp of the creek channel I like to fish in. And then I hardly get out to them. So I think I've been on Tuttle probably 4 or 5 times this year. And that was mainly in preparation for the tournament we had out there. Like I said, we got second place. Milford, that's probably my 5th time out here this year. And that's out of, you know, I don't even know how many days I spent on other lakes. I think I fished 20 tournaments this year, local and national. I think I spent more days on Clinton and Perry, Melbourne. I know I spent more days on Melbourne Lake. I think we've had 3 tournaments there this year. So and then honestly, you know, don't really care for Milford. Like I said, it doesn't have that stand timber I like to fish. And also I just, you know, I don't like it, but it's good for me. It's good for me to get out here and start learning how to fish different bodies of water and try to master that. You know, like I said, I don't like Perry Lake because same thing, there's one area with stand timber, the fish ain't there, then you gotta learn to fish brush piles and what brush piles they're in, which that's helped my fishing game out a lot. You're gonna have that at some lakes. You know, a lot of southern lakes don't have stand timber. Spider trolling, probably gonna do that a lot next year at the beginning of the year. Just trying to learn the fish patterns for that I think will help me when we go to those different lakes that